Hello everyone, Ron Spomer here in Africa, Namibia, in the former Caprivi Strip, which is now known as the Zambezi Strip. Rivers come out of Angola, slide down through this little strip of Namibia, and make a wonderful habitat for a lot of game. And I thought this would be a great place to describe what I consider the classic African big game rifle. And it is obviously, this one, a traditional bolt action, quite reliable and strong. Walnut stock, blued, old school. But there are great reasons for that. One of which is it's usually quite dry here, so you don't have the advantage of a weatherproof stock or need it. And the old wooden stocks have proven themselves so effective for so long. And these days, with the proper bedding and some glass bedding and floating a barrel and all the different options we have, walnut works extremely well. So let's just go over this. This is essentially a Dakota rifle. Now, Dakota went out of business, but a new firm started up manufacturing the same actions with the same quality. They have many of the same workers who built Dakotas, but they couldn't use the name, so they're called Parkwest. And the Parkwest rifles are the SD76 bolt action. This is their safari model, and as I said, it's just an absolute classic. And here's why. In addition to the really good looking stock, which you don't have to have a fancy stock, but what the hey, if you're going to get a special African rifle, why not get a beautiful piece of walnut in it? And then you have what is known as the controlled round feed action, the Mauser 98 style or the Winchester Model 70. Those are essentially what Parkwest has used to create this SD76 bolt action. So you've got your 3-position safety. In the back position, of course, the trigger is locked and the bolt handle is locked down so it never accidentally opens in the brush. But if you push it to the first position, now the bolt handle opens to take your round out, but the trigger is still blocked from firing. That's the safety feature. And then for the final push forward, click, off it goes. So it's a great system. And of course, the controlled round feed means that you pick the cartridge up and you immediately get it grabbed by that big claw extractor. Let me pull that out and show it to you here real quick. You lift this little lever on the back that controls the bolt stop. And you can see that big spring on the bolt. And this is how it controls the cartridge. Once it pushes that cartridge out of the magazine and it gets up underneath that claw, it is held. It's controlled by the claw extractor. That means it gets pushed directly into battery and you're never going to lose it. It's never going to slop. Hey guys. What, did you find something?
We're tracking these hippo. We saw a couple of fresh signs, but we'll keep on going.
All right. Should I join you down there later?
Come and join us.
All right. I'll see you along the banks. Those are my friends out hunting hippo. There's a lot of hippo in these waters. We hear them calling all the time. Back to the controlled round feed. So as you can see, it's being controlled. So you don't have the cartridge slopping around inside, and it's all very neatly controlled, and that's important when there's dangerous game in the offing, especially if there's somebody coming at you and you tend to short stroke the rifle. You're going to pick that round up and bring it out. We'll do a few more details on this and show you. Now you'll notice here the little lever that I pulled to release that bolt. You push that back, now your bolt is stopped. That's just your bolt stop. Very neatly done on this Model 76. The magazine holds 4 rounds down, and of course it's the traditional trapdoor style bottom metal. And a lot of younger folks who are not familiar with the older rifles wonder, why do you have that instead of a drop box magazine, a replaceable magazine? We've gotten so used to having these, and you slam them in, you pull them out, you put in another one. It doesn't really give you an advantage here in Africa. Most of your shooting will require 1 to 3 shots, perhaps 4 at the most. So you've used your magazine up. The advantage of having this is, of course, you can drop all of your rounds out and you never worry about losing the magazine. If you got a drop out magazine and you lose it, you're done for. Also, all the parts are protected within the stock, so you don't risk the damage you might get from an external box magazine, especially a metal one. So there's less chance for damaging anything, and it's just a proven system that works quite well. 24-inch barrel gives you a little more velocity than a 22-inch. Of course, you can choose your options on that one. But notice we've got the open sights on here, a good high ramp open sight just in case your scope goes belly up or you want to take it off and use it for something else. You can get a quick release mount like these tallies to take your scope off. I've got a Swarovski a Z8i on here, a 1:8 by 24, more than bright enough for Africa, and you can dial that power down or up and make it a pretty versatile little rifle. This is a 375 H&H. Classic over here. It's sort of the starting cartridge for dangerous game like buffalo and elephant, and more than capable. I mean, this rifle, this very one, has already taken 3 buffalo, an elephant, but it also works well on the smaller plains game, Nyala, waterbuck. So really quite versatile. You can, of course, go to a 416 or one of the 450s or a 458, pretty much whatever you want. I like the 375, especially now that I've discovered these copper bullets. I've been using the Hammer's shock hammer bullet. It's a bit of a hollow point, and then the petals break off, and the shank continues driving, and it's proven wonderfully effective. As I said, 3 buffalo and an elephant, all using that same, what many would consider a little bit too light of a bullet, but it works extremely well. And then with that 375 and that light bullet, I've got some reach. I can easily go to 300 yards and take my plains game. So you'll see also that I have a sling on this particular rifle. And it's often suggested you don't use a sling in Africa because it gets in the way, especially when you're stalking. But boy, you do a lot of hiking out here. Sometimes you'll go for miles and miles, and it gets pretty rough carrying your rifle without a sling, especially if you want to then use your binocular. What do? You've got the rifle in one hand. So you can always do the quick release and take that sling off if you get into heavy cover or you've got a situation in which you expect a charge from a buffalo or something. What else does this rifle have? Notice the open grip. This gives you more hand position options than a sharp pistol grip would do. If you got a bigger hand or a smaller hand, you can slide up or back. Kind of a nice feature. Good checkering, of course, and that's functional. Not only looks good, but it gives you a good steady grip. Ebony fore-end tip, that's just kind of a classic to set it off. It protects the end grain of the walnut. Rubber recoil pad for a little bit of recoil reduction. You'll notice we've got the classic cheek pad and a nicely rounded comb. That all helps control recoil. Notice how the straight line on the stock brings all the pressure back into your shoulder rather than slapping up into your face. I'll tell you, when you shoot this at game, you don't feel any recoil. And that's pretty much the Dakota, or now Parkwest, SD76 model rifle, which I consider a classic for Africa. So if you're looking for a controlled round feed dangerous game rifle or plains game rifle, and you want to hunt Africa, hardly recommend you check one of these out. Controlled round feed SD76 Parkwest Arms Rifle. It's proven to be quite a gem for me over here in Africa. This is Ron Spomer in Namibia, looking for my friends who are looking for a hippo. We'll see you guys later.